Hi, welcome to Bathtime with Auntie Svetty. I'm Svetlana Trantastic, our special guest, Diana Fire.
Hi!
Who is Diana Fire and where can we see her?
Diana Fire is Portland's Daddy Bear drag queen, and you can catch her every Thursday night at Tonic Lounge for Not Another Drag Show.
Ooh, tell me what Not Another Drag Show is all about. How does it run?
It's usually a bit of a mess, and we just encourage a lot of drinking to make it feel better.
Fantastic.
No. Not Another Drag Show is a weekly show produced by myself and Autumn Rains Hart. We started doing the show originally with Local Queen, and then as the show's evolved, we've taken over the production work, and we have a cast of some amazing performers that rotate through every week. We have rotating themes. We invite a lot of local performers to come participate and be rotating guests. And we also have weekly drag roulette competitions where our winners can win tickets to go see shows at Shotski's down in Salem when the Rue Girls come into town. They can win money and they can win bookings in our show.
Fantastic. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
You're freshly back from the Austin International Drag Festival.
I am, yes.
Tell me about your experience.
The International Drag Festival is so much fun. I've been going for 4 years now since it began. I got my start in Austin, so I was a brand new, freshly birthed baby queen with placenta still on my head when the festival first began. And it's given me opportunities to meet performers all around the world. I've gotten to work with some big names like, Chad Michaels and, Pandora Box and those fun queens that everybody, already knows about. And then meet a lot of performers that you wouldn't meet otherwise. So by our 4th year, it's become such a reunion. So many of us are getting to reconnect. We're getting to meet people who we've been following on social media. And you make a lot of new friends and you leave there with a lot of new family.
Fantastic.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Anything else we're missing Diana Fire in?
Just my website, www.godianafire.com.
Where you could get this swimsuit.
What? This whole thing? This one's mine, but you could buy one just like it.
I do have one just like it.
You do have one just like it.
I didn't wear it because I didn't want a single white female you.
I was kind of a little secretly hoping that you would wear it, I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping we'd be twinsies. It would have been cute.
Well,
next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Speaking of single white female, I was watching you make love to your husband outside of your house, and then you sent me this weird email that you wanted to talk about consent today.
While I do appreciate a voyeur, I am, everyone's got their things that they're into. It is important to make sure you have consent before participating in these activities.
I didn't have it. I didn't know.
Sometimes it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
As long as you learn, that is the important part.
I wanted to talk about consent with you because as a teenager growing up in a small town and halfway to 86 now, nobody taught me anything about how to ask for sex, how to say no to sex. Nothing. And I feel like there was this big national conversation with the Me Too movement and all of these things. And so I brought you here to teach me and America all about consent.
Well, I'm going to do the best I can because you know what? We're all learning a lot of this together, aren't we?
What the fuck is consent and why should I ask for it?
Consent is making sure that somebody else agrees to participate in activities that you feel like they should be involved in.
Yeah.
Yes. It's important because not everybody feels like they want to participate in the same things that others do.
True.
And to go ahead and force those activities upon people when they weren't willing to be involved tends to make people a little upset, can cause a lot of trauma, can be a legal issue, and can lead to a lot of larger issues.
So what's a nice way to ask for consent? It seems like some people can't take no for an answer.
There are a lot of ways to ask for consent. It kind of depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
A simple, hey, are you interested in doing blank with me?
Right.
That always works well, tried and true.
Here's an example. Hey Diana, how about two in the stink while we talk about consent?
You know what? I had Chipotle earlier, so I'm gonna have to pass.
I understand.
Thank you for asking,
That was a nice example, wasn't it?
It was.
Sometimes when people don't give consent, especially females, Men are like, fuck you, bitch. So do you think it's important to be nice when you turn people down? Or do you think no is no and we shouldn't worry about it?
Sure, people should try to be nice when interacting with any other person, but you're not required to. If someone is being very unwelcome, they have been far too forward, they have done something to offend, you are allowed to have a human reaction to that. So you don't have to be polite when telling somebody they don't have consent.
You could just say no.
You can just say no.
Can you give an example of when you were asked to do something and somebody wasn't okay with it, when it was maybe hard to give some consent?
I think there have been many of us who have had a few too many to drink while, out at the club. And it's definitely happened to me before that someone has made advances on me, tried to, be physical with me while I was out with my husband, and I was not comfortable with it, and I asked them to stop, and they apparently had enough to drink that was not information they could quite process. While they weren't rude, they did not react aggressively, they just persisted. So it's it can happen in a lot of forms. It can happen to a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. I'm lucky that in that example it's something that didn't cross the line. It didn't turn into potentially an assault situation. But that's a very real risk sometimes with people not understanding the need for consent.
As a culture, I think a really weird gray area is dick pics.
Oh, isn't it? Isn't it?
What should polite Miss Manners advice be around dick pics?
Well, unless someone has specifically told you that they are interested in seeing pictures of your genital, don't send a dick pic. No. Even if you're on Grindr, for example, I can't tell you how many times people will open a conversation just with a dick pic. I haven't even seen their face yet. We're starting with the dick. Not only is that unbecoming and makes me not particularly interested, it's a tad offensive. Just being on a hookup app does not imply consent.
Now, how would you ask someone if you wanted to see their dick pic?
I'm fond of starting with saying, hello.
Hi.
Start a conversation.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going okay.
Maybe give a compliment. You're really handsome.
Thanks. Want to see my butthole?
Sure, do you want to see my dick?
Yeah.
See? Both parties engage in mutual consent before acting on it.
How would you say no?
No, thank you.
Fucking bitch.
I would be offended, but I am a fucking bitch. So, in this case, the shoe fits.
When she's fucking.
True or?
We have some questions from viewers at home.
Oh my god, people actually did that?
Someone anonymous says, when is it asking for consent? And when is it sexual harassment? Where's the line?
Oh man, the line can get a little blurry in some situations. When you're out at a bar and you approach a stranger and you maybe jump to a sexual advance quickly, as long as it's the form of a question, inquiring if the other person is interested, you're okay. Now do that same thing at the workplace. Not okay. Shouldn't even be asking for consent there. Not an appropriate situation.
Maybe that goes straight to sexual harassment.
It does, indeed.
Let's talk about ongoing consent. What's that?
So ongoing consent is a situation in which consent that you have previously given continues to be given. But that consent can be revoked at any time. So if I met you on an app, per se, And we decided that we would meet up and we would start engaging in some adult activities. We've given consent so far, but maybe those activities start getting into a territory where I am no longer comfortable. You've had consent so far through myriad activities, but now I'm going to withdraw the consent because the situation has changed. Maybe I withdraw consent just for that thing. Maybe I withdraw consent for the entire engagement.
Maybe you've seen enough dick pics. At least for today.
It has been a long day.
It has been. Another place I think consent is kind of blurry is on the dance floor.
So true. So true. The kids these days and their dance movements involve a lot of hip motion.
The bumping and grinding.
Back in my day, we didn't do such things.
Do you think there's implied consent if you enter a dance floor where things are going on amongst the group?
No. No. Now, when dancing the way that you ask for consent, it might be translated a little differently. Because in that case, you're often not in a situation where you can vocalize your request for consent. So if you start dancing with somebody and they're not into it and they move away, leave them be.
Body language. Give a clue.
Language.
Someone slapping or crying could also not be enjoying what you're doing.
I have learned that is in fact not a positive response.
How would you suggest someone deal with, someone comes up and in the spirit of having a good time starts grinding on their bottom and they don't like it?
I usually turn around, give them a polite smile, and move elsewhere.
Move elsewhere. Back it up. Dance away.
The world is your oyster.
Janet from Laurelhurst wrote in a question about consent. She says, "Dear Diana, for years I've been pegging my husband and wondering if this makes him gay. I don't care if he is gay, but do you think it makes me gay that I wish he would eat me out while wearing drag? How exactly would I ask him for consent without sounding like a lessee? I'm not a lessee."
Well, that's a very loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm glad it eventually got about consent. I was concerned there. That was quite a journey, Janet. Well, Janet, my advice is to just be forthcoming about your desires. Having an open dialogue with your husband is the key to finding out what will satisfy one another.
The worst he'll do is say no, right?
Exactly. But the conversation started, and you can explore other options.
I think fair is fair. She pegs him, he dresses like a woman and eats her out.
Exactly. Or he finds someone else to do it while he watches if he's not interested. I mean, we have options here.
It's true.
Be resourceful. Be imaginative.
And don't bog yourself down with labels. Just do what you like.
Exactly. As long as you use protection, you're fine.
I have another question, and the person says that they are not Loretta Goodlord child.
Thank God.
Right?
Ooh.
That's who they're not. But they do say, "I am a priest who does drag by night, but my name is not Loretta Goodlord Child." Again, this is not Loretta. I don't even have a question. And if I did have a question, I'd ask Jesus. Signed, not Loretta.
Well, not Loretta. Live your best life.
Be best.
Be best.
Yeah, like the president's wife. We have some video questions.
Y'all actually pay attention to what we post on social media?
We're going via satellite to Electra Hacks.
Oh, where is she?
Yeah, her satellite picture will zoom in now.
Hey, Electra.
Hey Diana, why did you decide to do drag, and how do you handle all the backlash of being a bearded queen with today's beauty standards?
Well, I got into drag, I mean, really because I love attention. I'm not, if we're being entirely honest. I've been a performer, actually, most of my life. I was a theater kid in middle school and high school. I was on my high school dance team. I taught dance professionally. I joined a dance company while I was living in Austin, and we ended up getting hired to be backup dancers for a queen who was competing in a pageant. So that was my first exposure to the drag world, especially the drag pageant world. And so I got to know a bunch of queens through that. And in drinking and talking to them, I was talking about how, what you do looks like so much fun. I love performing, but, I'm just not willing to shave my beard. It's such a big part of, my identity outside of drag.
Yeah.
And they said, baby, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Apparently you don't have to. It sometimes takes you a while to figure out how to make it look good. But once you get there,
Oh, yeah.
you're fine. You're fine. So yeah, I ended up working with the Imperial Court system, with the United Court of Austin. It's where I got my start, and then I moved to Portland and changed my name and rebranded myself. And Honeybee Hart was one of the first queens to give me a booking. She put me in her Thursday night show at Embers, and then Onyx Lynn Valentine brought me on Saturdays, and I got a ton of experience performing 2 nights a week. And then when Embers very sadly closed, that's when I started working with Local Queen, and Autumn and I started our show, which is now not another drag show that we're now
you
producing
have your own
ourselves.
show.
Yeah, so it's just been a series of opportunities that presented themselves to me, and I decided to pursue them.
That's awesome.
And I think that's a big part of how I deal with people's perceptions of my drag. It's definitely not what people see on TV. This isn't a RuPaul's Drag Race type of mug.
But why couldn't it be?
I mean, she won't allow trans women and AFAB queens, so I feel like her, the blinders that are up for putting drag on TV, they're just not really, they're not that open yet. We're working.
Yeah, as drag goes mainstream, what do you feel like you want to say about why people do drag? You really shouldn't do drag to get on RuPaul's Drag Race.
No,
it's
and
more
that's
personal than that.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that's been really interesting with this generation of queens that are born from Drag Race and YouTube. Is that's what they're emulating. That's what a lot of them are striving for. And I think so many other drag performers have deeper reasons that we do what we do. Performance backgrounds, desire to help our community. I know a lot of us use drag to cope with, issues of our own, security issues and confidence issues. And, I know a lot of drag performers who are super introverted in their day-to-day lives, and drag is their way to be someone they're not, and be that celebrity that they wish they could be. So I think that everybody needs to find that reason that they're doing it more than just getting
and make
Instagram
it a positive
likes.
reason.
Absolutely.
And a healthy reason.
Absolutely.
I have one more question. It's from Ida Summer Garden.
It's way in there, isn't
I know.
it?
She gave me this weird little object, and she said I just had to hold it, and that her question would come right out of my mouth.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see it's a little demon.
Looks just like her.
And yeah.
Hi,
And
Ida.
question, somehow, if I hold this demon, it's going to come right out of my mouth. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Hi, Diana Fire. It's me, Ida Summer Garden. I know it doesn't look like me, but I learned this new trick of being able to possess souls. So I think I did pretty good. And damn, if I don't look sexy as fuck. My question for you is, what item of drag is most valuable to you? And also, can I have it? Will you please give it to me? I want it.
Why would you want my waist cincher?
Is that what I want? Ida, they're not that expensive.
They're not, and I've had it for a while. It doesn't smell great.
Oh.
You can get one of your own on Amazon for like $40. It's really worth it.
That was incredible, though, how she channeled
I know,
herself
I've
through
never-
me just by holding this plastic demon. Nice.
If you really want my sweaty waist cincher, you teach me that trick,
Ooh.
and and it's yours.
I miss Summer Garden. It's got a lot to teach the world, I think. She's an
Clearly.
interesting one. I love her.
Keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
Keep an eye.
Bathtime with Auntie Svetty always has a little performance piece.
What?
Yeah, you can sing a song. We could play a song and you lip sync it.
What? I have no experience doing such a thing. I wasn't at all ready for this.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, Stan, I was into that.
That was good. I don't usually know what's going on in a relationship. I'm usually fucking clueless.
Aren't we all?
For example, I thought we were dating and then you posted about being married. That was very confusing to me.
Well, back to the consent conversation. While I understand that you thought we were in a relationship, you did not
I never
establish
asked.
consent before said relationship.
Can we date? Which you would have said no. No, and then I would have known.
Had I been
single,
single, you never know.
yeah, communication is
What about
everything.
us?
What
It
about
is.
us? What about us? I hope that about us, there's just more and more fantasticness and working together and seeing you do what you do, and I don't know what I do on stuff.
But you do it so well.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're a lovely place.
No,
by the way.
I know.
I love what you've done here.
Yeah, white.
It's tasteful.
Yeah, like me, white.
And most important.
Anything else you want to talk about? Anyone else you want to shout out to?
No. No.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you for talking about success.
So happy to be here.
I mean consent.
That too,
I get
yes.
twisted sometimes. I adore you and can't wait to see you.
I love everything about you, and I'm so happy that you had me here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Bathtime with Auntie Svetty with Diana Fire. And you can get this swimsuit at GoDianaFire.com. Bye-bye. Bye.